Hi and welcome to the channel. My name is Drew. This is JustAGuyLinux, and this is our third video in a row on Awesome WM. Now, I'm not sure if this is going to be the last in this kind of micro series. However, we're going to see where this leads to today and then reevaluate. I'd like to do something, I think, fairly simple first, and that would be to change the color of the date and then modify the layout of the clock. Okay, so let's go over to the text clock widget. Okay, and let's add a couple of lines here. We're going to define custom colors. Okay, and we're going to say local date underscore color. And we're going to make that pound. So I like what I did in DWM. I know, right? And I used this particular color. So I'm going to reuse it again here. So I'm just going to go copy that and move it over here. Oh, don't need two of those. And let's close that. And now let's say local time underscore color, and let's equal and that's good. All right, what I'm going to do next is say let's create the date widget, and I'm also going to create, let me get a space there, create the time widget. And I'm going to use these both. Copy, and let's paste that there. But what I'm going to what I'm going to do rather is rename this. So local, and we're going to call this date underscore widget. And we're going to remove this and call it local time underscore widget. Okay, and now I'm going to pause the video so that I can type this without making a mistake, hopefully, and then I'll catch up with you in a sec. Okay, so basically what I did was replace the space that was in between the open and closed paren with this. Okay. And basically what it's doing is it's taking the custom color from here and putting it in this foreground. And I added a couple spaces here so that Saturday, May 25th comes up. And I don't really think, I mean, it's just a closed span and then a interval. Okay. Same thing with color. All right, basically the color is white for time color, but I added this %L, basically changing the format, making it a custom format, okay? And so you can see the result up here. Now, the only real difference is I actually combined the date and time widget to just call date time widget. Okay, so if you do make a change here, it will still, it'll still be okay. Okay, basically. Okay, so then I called this date time widget, which combined the two, and put it, hopefully I can find it really quickly without too much trouble. Yeah, right here. So it's in the right widgets. Remember, I commented out the keyboard layout, and I just added this date time widget right before the sys tray. So if there was a sys tray, it would be here. In fact, let me go ahead and just flame shot just to put it here, just to show you that it's before the time. Okay, so let me close that. So I paused the video so that I could do another addition to the bar. And it was a simple one. But I started to think about the labels that I use. So I used date color and then time color. Okay, so I want to be more consistent. So I actually changed it to label color and then info color, and then made the change here in the text, sorry, in the date widget and then the time widget. So it didn't change the color, but I want to use it in more than one spot. So I thought label color, info color. Now, here's a real simple addition to the bar, and that's basically I wanted to put in the, and I might not leave that there because it does take quite a bit of space, okay? And a simple function that calls what kernel you are using, okay? Again, this will be in the in my dot files after the video, or before I actually make this video live. Okay, so the function calls uname-r, and then this kernel, which has been called kernel_widget, basically displays that information. Now I put a couple spaces here just so that it wouldn't be intrusive, but if you are using Arch or something like that, you can simply just change this text if you want, or you could put in some type of glyph. I'm sure it would work. I just haven't even tried to do that, frankly. Like an awesome, a font awesome glyph or something like that. So anyway, you can see that I'm just using two different colors again, label color and info color, and then the kernel. Okay. So that's one thing I'm changing. But let me explain something that I did in the very first video. Let me go over here. Whoop, actually, I don't want to see that at all. But in the Debian packages, during the first video on Awesome, we installed this Awesome Extra, okay? And part of that is this vicious widget manager. So we're going to incorporate a couple of these vicious widgets up here. Again, I might comment some of this out, but at the same time, if you want this, you can use it. I might have 3, but maybe only use 2. I'm not sure, but I think it's important to do 3 different ones, and I'll probably pause to do them. But if you're interested in a volume widget and a CPU widget and a RAM widget, so basically CPU, is there memory, mem, and then volume, and there's also a weather widget here too. I'm just not going to do it. I just don't. I'm just not that interested. But there are widgets here that you can use that, like I've said before, are kind of already incorporated into this build. We don't have to go searching for it because we already installed this awesome extra package. Now, even though we added the awesome extra package, we need to make sure that the library is brought in via the configuration file. So we need to require vicious, okay, up in the standard awesome library section. I only added 1, and we're going to add more than 1 in a minute, but let me just get down to where that information is. So we created the time widget, we added the distro widget, or the kernel widget, I should say, and now we are adding the CPU widget, okay? So we needed this to create the widget, and then we need to register the widget with vicious. Now, this is a little bit, this is a little bit challenging in the sense that this looks like code, and as you know, I'm not a coder, but I've found a way to get through this. And so now that we have it, we can kind of reuse that code in the memory widget, which we will do in a second. But let me just say, we created the widget, we registered the widget, we formatted the color of the CPU text, and then we added the info color of the percentage, okay? Also, we needed to make sure that we added it to the write widgets So we just simply said CPU widget right here, right before the kernel widget. Okay, we're going to run out of room pretty soon, but I'm going to go ahead and just fill it up, and then we can comment stuff out as we go. So in order to get the memory widget, let's just copy this. Okay, we're going to copy, and let's paste it, and let's just redo this memory, and let's just call it mem. And in this section here, we say mem. And what else? Let me just make sure that I get a little more space between these two. And let's actually not make this every 2 seconds. Let's make it every 15 seconds. Seems like overkill to have it. And then obviously mem. I don't know, do we want to capitalize it? Let's just leave it like that and see what that looks like. And now let's save it, but let's also go down to the bottom where the widgets are, and let's put it right next to mem to the CPU widget. So let's just add that and save that. And now let's super shift R. Ooh, okay. What did I do? I must have missed. Oh, you know what I did wrong? Okay, I'm pretty sure it's in the, yeah, register with vicious. This is the memory widget, so I just did not label this correctly. Okay, so it's mem widget like that, and let's save that. And let's restart again. And now we have 2 different widgets. Okay, sorry about that. I just kind of messed up trying to go too fast. So, so I'm thinking, full disclosure, I recorded the last segment 2 days ago, okay? And I thought to myself, I'm going to move on from this subject. The vicious widgets are really good. You can use them. And then what I tried to do was install the vicious volume widget, which is very good as well. Now, the only thing that the vicious volume widget does is report what the current volume is. And that's all. You can't interact with it by scrolling to change the volume or to click on it to mute the volume. And I thought to myself, well, I mean, you can get around it easily. So I set up a keybind, super V for volume. And here's Pulse Mixer, and I can change, I can change the volume simply by using the arrow keys, okay? Or I can tap on the M on my keyboard to mute it, just like that. Okay? Now, is that the best way to do it? Maybe, actually. That might be the best way to do this. But I also thought to myself, here I've got this awesome window manager that's written in Lua, which prides itself on extensibility. Why don't I just create my own widget for volume? Now, I am not a programmer, as I have said repeatedly, okay? So it's taking me days of trying to figure out how to do this. And I mean, I have scripts that I've written, but not in the same way. It does use PA Mixer, and maybe that's a mistake, but that's the only way I knew how to do it, basically. So when I go to the rc.lua, there is a volume widget start, okay? And then there is a volume widget end right here. And in between those two is creating a volume widget. This volume widget allows you to scroll. So you can scroll up to increase the volume, scroll back to decrease the volume. To click on it, it would toggle the mute on and off. Now, this does what it was supposed to do. Now, let me just clarify something. I spent a long time, probably longer than I should have, on this particular widget. Now, could I have done it a different way? Absolutely. I probably could have done it in a way that puts it in a volume.lua file and then just calls to it. So how would you call to it? Well, you would just simply call like this: local volume equals, and then equals require, and then put volume. As long as the volume.lua is in the same directory as the rc.lua, that's how you would do it. You would just say local volume equals require, and then within the quotes, it would just say volume. Okay. And then you would then call to that widget further down. Now, the question is, was this a good use of my time? Probably not. Probably not. And here's the thing. I don't know that I use volume very often in my bar, but like I said before, I think it was kind of important to demonstrate how powerful the Lua language is with regard to awesome WM. And the only way I was going to do that was to write something that I had not done before so that it could be demonstrated, so that I could demonstrate how extensible it is. Okay. And that's the only reason. I did two more things, and I'll demonstrate that later. But this was probably the absolute limit of my abilities. Absolute limit. Okay. And frankly, I would not do this again. I would not even have a volume here. That's how mad I am. Can you tell? I would just like remove this and just use the pulse mixer to change the volume, and then that would be it. Seriously, that seems easier. And maybe I would use the volume, the vicious volume, just to show what it currently is. That might be another option. But this works. I mean, and it works pretty good. So if you are interested in this particular widget, this will be in my rc.lua in my dot files. So moving on, let's talk about layouts for a few minutes, because I did demonstrate resizing a window, and I really like that functionality. However, not all of these layouts behave the same way. And so for some, it's impossible, at least from what my experience is, to resize anything. So for example, I left spiral dwindle as the default for right now. So you can see it up here. I'm going to go to a different tag just so I can demonstrate. So there's 4 windows open. It's using the spiral dwindle layout, and I can't resize anything. Can't do anything. Even in the keybinds, I can't say super, well, I can do super J and K, but super H. No, I can't do anything to resize the window. So if I would have to go to like tile, for example, and then you can resize things easily, or you can grab it and use your mouse to resize things. So for me, that criteria of being able to resize the windows and really efficiently allowed me to just say, you know what? I am going to comment out a bunch of these and leave the ones that I like and that can be resized. When I first started using window managers, tiling window managers, I used i3 and BSPWM, trying to find what I was really comfortable with. And I liked i3 because they had a vertical or a column layout. And I think a lot of the ones that I have tried don't have one by default, including DWM and BSPWM. So Awesome WM also does not have a column layout as part of their default, which is fine because you can always add it. You can either find somebody that's already written it, or you can actually write it yourself. So let's talk about the ones that are already written. I was watching a video of IMZipix, and I will put a link in the description to his YouTube channel below. And he mentioned this particular, let me actually go back one page. He mentioned this particular GitHub page. And as you can see, they have layouts listed here. And they also have scratchpad. So I might return and take a look at this a little bit closer. Okay. Now I'm going to go to the layout, and I copied this vertical.lua into a user.config awesome layouts directory. Okay. It doesn't have to go here, but I'm going to demonstrate why I did this in the configuration. So I'm going to go back to the configuration, and the vertical underscore layout is requiring layouts.vertical. So layouts is actually the directory name under that under that awesome configuration directory, and vertical is the file name without the .lua. So there you go. Also, I put it right here. There's a vertical layout, and I'll get to column in a second, basically. All right. But they're basically the same thing. So there's two files, both of them being called in that layouts directory. One of them I kind of wrote, I had to modify because I was curious as to whether I could do something like this. Anyway, vertical is the one written by Bling, and that's the one we're going to take a look at first. So I'm going to go to tag 4. Now it doesn't have the icon that goes with a lot of these layouts. I just didn't even bother with it. But I'm going to open up a terminal, which is going to be the master. And I'm going to open up another terminal. And so like tile left, the left side is the master. And now if I open up one more terminal, okay, the master stays constant as far as the size. So you get basically 50% of the real estate devoted to the master, and the other ones kind of get equally sized down. So in this case, it looks like about 25-25. If I do another one, as you can see, it resizes everything, but the master stays the same size, okay? And you can use your key bindings to make things larger or smaller. Interestingly, when you resize the master, the stack windows react the same way. Basically, they are the same size. So I'm curious, actually, let me go to a different, I'm going to go to the to one of the stacks, and I'm going to resize just that stack. All right, well, is it actually resizing both? Okay, so I'm not sure. I guess no matter what I do as far as the stack, if I resize the stack, all the stack gets resized. And I'm going to look for, can I actually use the mouse to resize? No, you cannot. Okay. So the question is, do you like this? I don't know if I like this, but I could use this. All right. So the one that I wrote, you definitely can't resize. Okay. That's just my limitation. As anybody that knows me, I have limitations. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to columns, okay? And basically all it does is resize everything to be the same size. It just, anytime I add one, it just keeps everything the same size. And you can, switch by using the, change focus rather, just by using J and K, all right? So it kind of essentially removes the master idea and just says, okay, here are the columns. Okay. So anyway, I'm going to leave them both again in the configuration. There's lots you can edit with the configuration. Just modify it by commenting out. Like if you don't want these, then just comment it out. Now, there is so much more that can be done in Awesome WM. I don't know if I have another video left in me, but I might. Okay? There's a couple things, like right off the bat, I would consider writing a small function. I think it's like 3 lines probably, that just says, filter out the vacant tags. That's got to be really, really simple to do. Okay? Another might be to add an additional 10, 11, 12 tags, but that might be harder than I think because of the key bindings. So, but regardless, this has been challenging, and I actually have enjoyed the challenge, but it's been challenging. That's all I can say. So, thank you for watching. Thank you for your comments, and hope to see you soon. Bye.